Welcome back, everybody. So we got picks, and more picks from President-elect Donald Trump. He's filling out his cabinet. He's making all the right moves, in my opinion. He's got it, like he's sticking it to them. He's saying, look, these are my people. This is what we're going to roll with. I think it's been fantastic thus far. Look, he's got Susie Wiles as his chief of staff. Ellis, I don't know all these people, okay? But I know a lot of them. Michael Waltz for the National Security Advisor. The Border Czar, Tom Homan. Bomb pick. That's the same guy that put AOC in her place. Yeah, that one. Right on with that one. Ambassador to Israel is going to be Mike Huckabee. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator is Elise Zeldin. Don't know who that is, but I'm looking into a lot of these that I don't know. CIA Director John Ratcliffe. The Department of Government Efficiency. This is the new Doge that he's put in. He's got Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. I think it's perfect. I think it's great. I mean, why not? When Elon took over Twitter, fired 80% of that crapshoot of a site that it was, turned it into X, and it's still profitable, still running strong. So, and he cut 80% of the workforce. Why not put him in charge of, cutting the government down a little bit? Because it's too big. It is. I believe in small government should be smaller. It's way too big the way it is right now. Why not put somebody in there that can cut it down to size? I think it's great. It's perfect. Anyway. Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary. Deputy Chief of Staff is Dan Scavino. And we got Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard. Look, I've always been a fan of Tulsi. A couple things that she was running on when she was running for the presidency I didn't agree with, but I've always liked her. Always thought she was a strong candidate. She's going to be the Director of National Intelligence. Fine with it. Perfect. Wanted her to be Secretary of State. But I think that's fine too. Secretary of State, you got Marco Rubio. I like it. And U.S. Attorney General has just come out not too long ago today, Matt Gaetz. A lot of people are freaking out about this. I think it's great. He's been a staunch Trump supporter. I remember when he stood up and said that he wanted Donald Trump for the Speaker of the House. I thought that was fantastic. Anyway, and get a couple things in here. So we got Tulsi was named Director of National Intelligence. A lot of people think that she's not qualified, that she's not going to do good for the job. I think she's going to be just fine with her military background. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, all of the intelligence agencies she's pretty much their boss now, and she's not qualified. Why not? Why not? Anyway, look at some of the people that Biden put into some of these spots. I mean, it was just horrendous. Anyway, I think Tulsi's a good fit. I think, like I said, I would have wanted her for Secretary of State, but I think this is a good spot for her. And honestly, Trump would know it more than I would. So check this out. Okay, so we got check this little video out. This is this is from CBS, I believe it was, and we can check this out. This is them.
Information right now by another cabinet appointment in this new quick-forming Trump administration, that being of Tulsi Gabbard. I want to put this up as she will be the Director of National Intelligence. Here's a statement as well from the President-elect Donald Trump saying, I am pleased to announce that former Congresswoman Lieutenant Colonel Tulsi Gabbard will serve as the Director of National Intelligence. For over 2 decades, Tulsi has fought for our country and the freedom of all Americans. As the former candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination, she has a broad support in both parties. She is now a proud Republican. I know Tulsi will bring the fearless spirit that has defined her illustrious career in our intelligence community, championing our constitutional rights and securing peace through strength. Tulsi will make us all proud. And we were learning more information yesterday about potential roles for Tulsi in this administration. It would not be the Secretary of Defense. It would not be the director of the CIA. Instead, it is the director of the National Intelligence. Tulsi is a 4-term congresswoman, a 2020 presidential candidate, and a New York Times bestselling author, veteran with 3 deployments to war zones in the Middle East and Africa. She has served in uniform for more than 2 decades as a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, serving as a battalion commander there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right, I'm Andy Mack here on Live Now from Fox. And big news about all of these appointments there by President-elect Trump. You can see some of these images as she was on the campaign trail in a big way.
Yep, I think it's good. I think she's a good pick. I think she'll fit in. Well, I don't know about fit in. Some people aren't going to like her, but I think it's fine. I think it'll be great. Anyway, on to Matt Gaetz here. We're going to check this one out here. This is just the post from Matt Gaetz saying that it will be an honor to serve as President Trump's Attorney General. And this is just Trump's little, is my great honor to announce that Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida is hereby nominated to be the Attorney General of the United States. Matt is deeply gifted and tenacious attorney, trained at the William and Mary College of Law, distinguished himself in Congress through his focus on achieving desperately needed reform at the Department of Justice. Few issues in America are more important than ending the partisan weaponization of our justice system. Matt will end weaponized government, protect our borders, dismantle criminal organizations, and restore America's badly shattered faith in and confidence in the Justice Department, which is absolutely true. Nobody trusts the DOJ right now. Nobody. The way that it's been weaponized against the political opponents from the left, and you can say that it's not happening. It most definitely is. Take a look at all the people from J6 that are still in prison for simply walking around. Now, I'm not saying J6 wasn't bad, because it was. There was a lot of bad stuff that happened there that day, but there's a lot of people that are wrongly in jail for simply walking around. There's an older couple that showed up there after everything had happened, saw some shattered glass, walked in there, took a couple pictures, and then walked out. They're in jail. Tell me that's not weaponization, because it is. Anyway. Okay, let's check this one out. This is a good old CNN talking about Matt Gaetz's nomination, as it were. He's still got to be pushed through the Senate. It's got to be approved by the Senate. But this is all CNN talking about it.
Brand new cabinet picks by President-elect Trump. Congressman Matt Gaetz has been selected to be his new U.S. Attorney General. Senator Marco Rubio is officially nominated to be the U.S. Secretary of State. One-time Democrat turned Republican, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii has been picked to be the Director of National Intelligence. And late yesterday, Trump selected Fox and Friends Weekend co-host Pete Hegseth, a decorated veteran, to be Secretary of Defense.
And I'm just going to point out, too, that the whole Pete Hegseth thing, all the news media are losing their minds over this. This is all they talked about until now with Matt Gaetz. But this is all that they were talking about, was Pete is unqualified. How could they pick somebody just who is a weekend talk show host? The guy's a veteran, a very well-decorated veteran. He'll be just fine as the Secretary of Defense. I have no issues with it. Anyway.
Defense. I want to bring in Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. He's on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, the breaking news, the pick of Congressman Matt Gaetz to be the next U.S. Attorney General. Your reaction?
Well, I was walking off the Senate floor just moments ago when the news was announced. You could literally hear the jaws dropping to the floor of Republican senators who are now going to be in a position to stand up to Donald Trump in a way that they have been unwilling to. I mean, listen, Matt Gaetz is dangerously unqualified, but that's not the worst of it.
No, he's not.
Gaetz
he's a lawyer.
Trump's chief defender when it comes to Trump's assault on democracy, his attempt to overthrow the government on January 6th, and he has openly called for the abolition of law enforcement agencies if they don't get in line with conservative political priorities. This is going to be a red alert moment for American democracy. Matt Gaetz is being nominated for one reason and one reason only, because he will implement Donald Trump's transition of the Department of Justice from an agency that stands up for all of us to an agency that is simply an arm of the White House designed to persecute and prosecute Trump's political enemies.
That's what they're doing with it now. Your party, the Democratic Party, is doing exactly that. This is the whole, we're going to point out stuff that they're going to do, but don't pay attention to the fact that we're doing that right now. They're doing it now. Everything against Trump, everything against Trump supporters. They're taking everything that they can in their power and weaponizing the DOJ to go after their political opponents, but at the same time warning about Trump doing just that. It's ridiculous.
But not surprising in others, because Trump told us during the campaign that he was going to use the White House to go after people who politically opposed him.
He didn't say that at all.
Pick for the head of the Department of Justice is very much in line with the promises he made during the campaign.
Senator, what do Republicans have now, assuming that McCormick is the winner of Pennsylvania, which I think everybody except for Bob Casey has acknowledged? 54 Republicans, is that right?
Well, I don't know. It may be 53 in the end. I mean, listen, there are some very decent human beings in the Republican conference who maybe didn't stand up publicly in the way that we had hoped, but they are going to be faced with a very difficult decision. Many of them know Matt Gaetz. They know the investigations that he has been under. They know the fact that he is, essentially a media celebrity who is just out to try to benefit and boost himself. We will see whether they do what they've been unwilling to do thus far during this calendar year, stand up for democracy, stand up to Donald Trump.
But ultimately, don't you think he's going to be confirmed? I mean, don't you think that all of the Senate Republicans are going to vote for President Trump's nominees? I mean, do you really think any of them are going to vote against Huckabee to be ambassador to Israel, or Tulsi Gabbard to be director of national intelligence, or Pete Hegseth to be secretary of defense, or Matt Gaetz to be attorney general? I mean, can you name one Republican that will vote against any of those individuals?
They won't, and I'll tell you why. Because of the vote that we had last week, an overwhelming majority of people have voted in President Trump because they liked what he was standing for. You've got the popular, you've got the electoral, and overwhelming. He took all the swing states, just like I said he would. All the swing states. He's got the popular vote. This is a mandate from the people saying to President Trump, we want you to carry through what you promised. And these picks that he's putting into place is him doing just that, okay? And if the Senate is to go against that, those people that vote, they're going to be known. They're going to be known as the ones who voted against President Trump's picks for his cabinet, and they're going to be ousted. They won't stay in that seat after that. I'm telling you right now, if they want to hold that seat, they're not going to say no on any of these picks that Donald Trump has made. It's as simple as that.
Well, I mean, obviously, some of this news is breaking within the last 10 minutes, so I can't come on air and try to guess about the votes of my colleagues. I will talk to them over the course of the next few days and make the case that maybe the most important nomination at this moment is the nomination for Attorney General, right? The entire credibility of government rests upon the belief that law enforcement is there to protect all of us, that it is an independent entity that is not just to be used at the political whim of the president.
That's what has been happening.
Because he will be and is today a political agent of Donald Trump. The ramifications of this particular pick, are stunning and potentially cataclysmic for American democracy.
They're losing their minds.
I hope that some Senate Republicans will see that.
So there's also another option, which we haven't discussed, which is that President-elect Trump has made it clear that he would like the Senate to adjourn so that he can make recess appointments.
I don't know about that.
The brand new Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, like the other two people he was running against. All three of them said, sounds good, like it. So it's entirely possible, unless there's some Democratic maneuvering that I don't know about, that they'll just adjourn, right? The majority will just vote to adjourn, and then Donald Trump will just say, okay, recess appointment, all these people, especially including Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. No?
Well, I mean, that would be the end of the United States Senate.
Oh, please.
If the Senate chose to
it's happened before.
End its power of advice and consent and just allow the president to choose without
this
any
guy acts like that's never happened
confirmation
ever.
process or
when it
approval
has.
His cabinet. I don't know why we would continue to show up for work. That's not a democracy anymore. Our founding fathers would be, rolling over in their graves. So listen, this is all happening very fast, Jake. We are going to have conversations in the Senate, especially with the handful of Senate Republicans who do care about American democracy, and see if we can come to some conclusions to make sure that we preserve the power of advice and consent and try to find coalitions that can push back on some of the most dangerous nominees.
It's interesting that there are 53 or 54 Republican senators, and you said there are a handful that care about American democracy. I mean, that's the number you characterized, a handful, which means like 5 or under.
I think there are many Senate Republicans who sort of thought about Trump in the same way that a lot of his voters did, that he was talking this big game about overthrowing democracy, being a dictator on day one,
it's not
using
what we
the Department of Justice to go after his
not
political
even
enemies, but he really wouldn't do it, right? There was, I think, a suspension of belief that was happening.
Wait, all this talk about Trump's a threat to democracy, and he's Hitler, and he's going to overthrow that's not what we think. We don't think that he just talks a big game and then he's just really not going to do it. We don't think he's a threat to democracy. We think that he wants to clean up the government and let the people have more power the way that it should be. That's what we think, and that's why we voted for him. And the fact that this idiot is coming out and saying that all this stuff. Okay, I don't believe. I don't think that it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a recess. Nomination. I don't think any of that. I think this guy's just talking out of his butt because the Democrats are scared. They're blown away. They still don't understand why they lost this election. And this guy from Chris Murphy from Connecticut, I just don't think he even knows what he's talking about. But anyway, we're gonna go on here. We're gonna go to MSNBC, and we'll check this one out. This is them talking about Gaetz as well.
This is going to be the most difficult nomination to get through the United States Senate, period, hard stop. I mean, this and Hegseth, right? I mean, I don't know that Tulsi Gabbard gets confirmed by the Senate. Let me just put it that
Tulsi.
way.
I think she does.
He has chosen a lot of people with easy paths to confirmation. John Ratcliffe at the CIA, Marco Rubio, Kristi, Noem, all of those folks will get confirmed. I mean, Marco Rubio could probably almost get confirmed on voice vote. He won't, but he probably could get close. Tulsi Gabbard is going to be extraordinarily difficult, and it's just a tough pill to swallow because
I don't think so.
Senators are, as we just saw, Katie, in the Senate leadership race earlier today, the whole right Trump Twitter sphere went crazy over Rick Scott and all of that and said he should be the leader.
That's
and
because
senators
he should.
didn't really care. So I think you're going to see a lot of that when it comes to these nominations. And remember,
I don't think
Mitch
so.
McConnell is another free agent when it comes to these nominations. He has 2 years left in his Senate term.
Nobody likes Mitch
McConnell. He is no longer in Senate Republican leadership. He has been very critical of Trump in this new biography that came out. He thinks Trump is an unserious person, and I think he'll share the opinion that some of these nominees are not serious people.
Trump.
So Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth are going to be two incredibly difficult nomination processes.
I don't think
watch
so.
And see.
I don't
We're
think
learn
so.
a lot about.
I don't think so. I think they get pushed. I think they get through without any problems. I could be wrong. I could be, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think they come through just fine. So that's just me. That's what I think. I think it'll be fine. But anyway, so there's some of the media just losing it a little bit, but so, and this is what I talk about with the House and everything. Look, we're going to take a look at this. This is from Daily Wire has already called the House Now the AP for some reason they sat on like 212 for days. I think they finally updated it today. We're going to take a look at that too. But look, Daily Wire already has the House. Called for Republicans. This is a trifecta. Okay, we took the presidency, we got the House and the Senate. It's a trifecta. Now this is from 270 to win, and this is showing the same thing. 219 for the House. And 211 for the Democrats there. So we've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got the presidency. Okay? And we'll take it just to show you this one here. This is what the AP is showing. For some reason, they still haven't. They're still sitting at 217. Like I said, they sat at 212 for days after everybody else was already like, well, we already took it. So, but what are you gonna do? They just, I don't know, for some reason they won't let it go. But anyway, I think every pick that he has made thus far has been spot on, and I can't find fault in any of it, honestly. I mean, I think it's gonna be great. I think he's making some good picks. I think they'll get pushed through in the Senate. I think everything is gonna go smoothly. Like I said, I could be wrong about that, but we'll see. I mean, but hey, appreciate you hanging out. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe, follow, and I'll see y'all on the next one. God bless.